On the news hour tonight, Katsina State Governor calls on residents to defend themselves amid rising insecurity. Osun youths take to the streets, demand end to economic hardship and insecurity. CBN Governor grapples with forex market turbulence and economic uncertainty. Senegal security forces break up rally following protest cry. Thank you most kindly for joining us on Trust TV's News Hour. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. We begin in Katsina as Governor Radda of Katsina State has called on residents to adopt proactive measures in defending themselves against bandit attacks, emphasizing the importance of community organization over sole reliance on the government intervention. The governor's remarks echoes the growing insecurity across the northwestern state, where bandit attacks has become a regular occurrence. Abdullahi Ahmed has more.
Against the backdrop of escalating insecurity in Katsina State, Governor Radda's message to residents resonated with urgency, urging them to mobilize and protect their communities against the relentless onslaught of bandits. We have observed that communities with robust security structures rarely fall prey to bandit attacks. The government stands ready to support and train any community willing to bolster its security measures. Proactivity is key in dealing with bandits. However, security experts cautioned against rash actions, highlighting Governor Radda's efforts while emphasizing the need for a measured approach to address insecurity.
Well, that may not be maybe a way forward, because it is a fight between the community and the criminals. So if the government made it very clear that it can no longer afford being the leader and the chief security in the state, that he can no longer be able to provide protection and security for the people, and advocated, is just like making it a policy of one Katsina State opposition. So I think that will help.
Addressing not only security concerns, but also the pervasive issues of food shortages and poverty within the state, Governor Radda underscored the imperative for immediate action. The emergency security meeting convened key stakeholders, including security chiefs, paramilitary leaders, and traditional rulers from Katsina and Daura, alongside senior government officials. This gathering aims to address the alarming rise in food prices in Katsina State. We must act compassionately as the specter of hunger and poverty looms over us, regardless of social standing. Let's consider, can a civil servant earning a minimum wage of 30,000 naira afford a decent living? The disparity is glaring. Governor Radda hinted at the possibility of establishing a task force to tackle the soaring cost of food items, emphasizing the government's commitments to swift action in averting potential crises akin to those witnessed in other parts of the country. Abdullahi Ahmed, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Well, staying in Katsina, in a brazen assault, a horde of bandits armed to the teeth stormed Maidabino town in Damusa local government area of the state, leaving devastation in their wake. Tragically, one member of the local security outfit known as the Community Security Watch fell in the line of duty. As dawn broke on Friday, the eastern part of the town became a battleground as the community security personnel valiantly engaged the marauders determined to shield their town from the invaders' attack. Now, despite a fierce firefight, they managed to repel the attack, but not without paying a heavy price, which is the death of Salihu Abdullahi Kanga, a dedicated member of the Watch Corps. Reports from Trust TV sources in Maidebino reveals that Salisu Abdullahi has been laid to rest in accordance with Islamic traditions. However, questions linger over the delayed response of the nearby military camp, leaving residents clamoring for increased government efforts to safeguard their communities. The escalating insecurity has triggered a mass exodus, which terrified locals seeking refuge in neighboring towns like Yangtumaki, Damusa, or Maidebino itself, fearing further attacks aimed at uprooting them from their ancestral lands. Let's get some more insight now. Join us on the program to provide us with some context on the security developments in Katsina State is a former intelligence military officer and a security expert, Abubakar Ibrahim. Abubakar, thank you very much for joining us on the News Hour. First and foremost, your quick reaction to the governor's comments and what this means for Katsina State in its battle with bandits.
Thank you for having me. You know, from what the governor has been saying, that the residents of Katsina should protect themselves, it's a sign that his project, the Community Watch project, we have been talking for a long time that they have been poorly trained, poorly organized, and poorly remunerated. And a large sum of money has been spent to get them in proper order, if you look at it. And now by him telling Katsina residents to protect themselves, it's a sign that they have failed. And there is need for organization, retraining, and refocusing on how they should operate in the state. You know, they have lost a significant number of their personnel, and I doubt if they even have rules of engagement on the ground. And I doubt if they have even a room for continuous training. Right. You know, security is dynamic. Most of the time, you need to train and you need to change tactics. And I don't see that happening. Right. So it's important for the governor and for the protection of the state, for them to refocus their attention on their project, which they call Community Watch.
Right.
These boys, they need...
Yeah. Just give us, looking at the security gaps in Katsina State, it is always, as a state that is always in the news for all the wrong reasons: bandits, attacks, kidnappings, the killings, the destruction of lives and livelihood. Give me a sense of the scale of the problem and what the federal and state governments are doing and why it is not enough.
It's not enough, the security situation, not only in Katsina, in the whole of the country, it has become an enterprise because there is a common factor involved, which is money. The money that the government spent in security, certain percentage of that money goes to the officials who are providing the security. At the same time, the bandits, when they kidnap people, if they kidnap the right person, in the next 24 hours, they get 10 million, 20 million. That is what has been happening. There is no business going in Nigeria that you can make a profit of 10 million except kidnapping. And many people have jumped into it.
Yeah, just to, pardon the interruption, just to, double down on the idea of ransom, kidnapping for ransom. The Katsina State government, the Radda administration, has been very clear it is not going to engage in the payment of ransom, which I suppose in its own thinking is going to discourage these kidnappers from carrying out their dastardly acts across rural communities that are easy targets. Do you think that this particular message is resonating now that we understand that communities are leaving in droves areas that are not properly secured?
Yes, if you look at it, most of those areas where the attack is happening, there is no government. There is no presence of government. If you go there to the villages, you will meet that is a cluster of 10, 20 houses, mostly one family. You can't see even one single policeman there. They have to resort to their local government. Sometimes it will take them 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers before they can reach the local government. So in all these places where these attacks has been happening, there is no presence of government there. And the government knows that these bandits, these kidnappers, they have this forest, this Zamfara forest, that this Basari forest, and the other forest that linked to Bindungwari forest. That is their hideouts. Government knows those areas. They should have placed military personnel in those forests. They should have denied them any place where they can take their victims to. But nobody is doing anything. It is only when they attack, then you will hear that they are calling security agents to go and rescue them, and it's not working. If you see somebody who not paying the money, then he hasn't got the money. That is why he's not paying. And people will continue to pay to get their loved ones back. And that is decimating their, some people sell their cars, sell their assets, sell their homes, sell their farms. When they are rescued from there, then they don't have nothing. And they don't know where to start. And if you look at it, that is why this ravaging poverty everywhere. It is not even poverty now, it is hunger. People cannot even feed themselves. What do you expect? And the attack has not been stopped. So it's something that is worrisome, right. And the government has to be serious in security. Because without security,
Go ahead.
Without security, without security, we might not have the government.
Right, exactly. And that leads me to my point. The whole essence of government, for the most part, is to guarantee that security of life and property. Because without that, the basis of government itself has been defeated. So how do you think this message coming from the governor is going to resonate with residents who not only are losing confidence on a daily basis, but now have nowhere else to go?
The government needs to change approach. The approach they are making now to tackle this kind of attacks and this kind of activities, of bandit activities, is not enough and it's not working. The realization that it's not enough, it's not working, is the first step for them to change course. Because the course they are on now is not going to give them the desired result, and it will not secure the state. Like now, Katsina has community watch. Zamfara has, they got their own. Then Kebbi and Sokoto will have their own. It won't work. We must have in the northwest the same bandits. They are operating in unison. Then we need a force, a single force that will combat them, that will engage them. And it will must cover all the northwestern states, not only one state. If this state is doing their own, the operation is going to differ from the other states. Right. And if you secure one state, they will move to the another state, the neighboring state.
As a former military man, as a former military man yourself, what do you make of the scale of the operations by Operation Hadid and Daji? Because they do also have quite some success stories to tell. Just yesterday, we came to know of the rescue of some 18 female captives in the same Katsina, right? So you have the scale of the problem versus the scale of the solution. What do you make of the military operations in the northwestern region in relation to the pushback against bandits and their attacks on communities?
The military, their approach is wrong. This is something that they have been doing for the past 10 or even more years. Operation this, operation that, operation this, operation that. They give them operation names. That is unlike military. If the military is serious, they should have now in this forest. All these forests, they are within the Nigerian borders. They are part of Nigeria. All the cantonments, all the barracks should be relocated to the forest.
Right.
Deny the enemy the ability to operate. Deny him a place to operate. You don't need to go and fight. If they relocated all the barracks, all the cantonments that we have into the forest, then they will not have anywhere to carry out their heinous activities.
Okay.
But as long as the military remain in the town until they call any operation to go after this, after that, it will continue like this.
Okay. Retired military intelligence officer and security expert Abubakar Ibrahim, thank you most kindly for your analysis. We really do appreciate you for joining us on the news hour.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to some of the day's other news stories. Youths in Osun State took to the streets in Osogbo, the state capital, on Friday in a peaceful demonstration calling on the federal government to address the prevailing economic hardship in the country. Here's Hamid Oyegbade with the rest of the story.
The protest in Osogbo is against the backdrop of the escalating economic challenges in the country. Men of the Osun State Police Command and personnel from other security agencies were deployed to the scene of the protest to maintain law and order. Tagged the Osun Peaceful Solidarity Walk, the protesters gathered beside the Freedom Park in Osogbo, expressing their dismay at the unbearable rise in the cost of living, particularly for the poor masses. They voiced their grievances, highlighting the suffering experienced by Nigerians due to the current economic hardship.
The youth, we gather today to express our own satisfy our grievances on economic hardship and insecurity. We come together today to tell the federal government that they should find solution to the insecurity and economic hardship. People are feeling the heat, it's too much.
Enough is enough. If the government fails to yield to the cause of the people, we are going to mobilize a larger number of masses in Osun to reach the seat and tell them enough is enough.
The youth are coming out today to send a signal to the government that we are done. We are saying we are the Sorosote generation. We are sending the money to the government because we are trying to avoid what happened in the 2020.
Protesters directed their plea to President Bola Tinubu, urging him to take action to alleviate their suffering. These protesters are echoing a national outcry against the continued rise in the cost of living, with many households struggling to meet their basic needs. Nigerians continue to advocate tangible action to address the current economic hardship. Hamid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
And the Niger State government has instructed the release of Aisha Jibrin, the leader of the Mina protest, along with 24 others who were apprehended by the police. Binta Maman, the Niger State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, made this announcement during a press conference held in the state capital on Friday. Maman emphasized that the decision to release the detainees followed a meticulous examination of the circumstances surrounding the arrest of Jibrin and other women involved in organizing and participating in the protest. The protest erupted in Mina on Monday, with residents expressing their grievances over the high cost of living by blocking major roads within the metropolis. Women and youths led the demonstration, chanting protest slogans, as security personnel, including policemen, monitored the situation. Among those arrested were 3 women, including 57-year-old Fatima Aliu, along with 22 other individuals who took part in the protest. The arrest sparked widespread discontent among residents who voiced their dissatisfaction with the crackdown on peaceful protesters. The Federal High Court in Ikoyi, Lagos, recently ordered the federal government to fix prices of basic commodities and petroleum products within 7 days. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana had gone to court arguing that Section 4, Subsection 1 of the Price Control Act of 2004 requires the federal government to fix the prices of a long list of basic commodities and petroleum products, including diesel, petrol, and kerosene. Though the order by the High Court appears to be a lifeline, many wonder if it can be enforced. Trust TV's Chamunda Beng reports.
The unregulated nature of the Nigerian market has left it open to the whims of the sellers, who are largely driven by the economic realities of the country. The Price Control Act of 2004 was primarily passed to limit arbitrary prices set by market leaders and regulate how service providers set the pricing of their goods and services. The order by the High Court to fix prices of basic consumer and petroleum goods within 7 days comes with noticeable implementation challenges. A key challenge is government's deregulation policy on petroleum products, which led to the removal of fuel subsidy. According to legal practitioner Emmanuel Ikpebe, the court order is just the first step of a long procedure.
The courts have ruled, but mind you, this is it has to take not just the order of court to make a reversal and all those things. It has to take a government policy to do that. So because the court said, the government cannot just sit back and say, okay, we took off subsidy, now we'll bring it back, and price of petrol will crash to one. Because of no, it has to go through a government policy.
The deregulation of petroleum products has been highly debated by several experts, as the controversial decision has brought untold hardships to Nigerians, but some see it differently. For the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, this is an opportunity for the federal government to revise some of the policies that have taken a toll on the masses.
I think this current administration should take this as an opportunity for it to improve on some of the policies that it has made so far that is having a negative consequences on the citizens.
The glaring gaps in the implementation of the court order has had many questioning if the court ruling can be really carried out and how realistic it is.
I've seen a situation in Nigeria, in Nigeria whereby the court will give an order and the federal government refuse or object to that kind of ruling. And it's not right for a system to be, going this way. So government must always obey court ruling. That is what democracy is all about.
Very, very realistic on the face of it, but unrealistic based on policies and the economy. So the court will not come and force the president to do anything. And you can't even hold him in contempt because it's the CNC. You can't hold him in contempt. But how realistic? The answer is a no-no. Because there are no policies in place. You can't reverse the dollar back to 75 naira in one day.
Despite the court ruling, which aims at alleviating the burdens of Nigerians, it does not change the economic realities of the country as the nation continues to battle high inflation and the free fall of the naira, showing a need for the government to take a deep look into the state of Nigeria's struggling economy. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, tension is gripping Bauchi State as news continues to spread of the Nigeria Police Force's declaration of a renowned Islamic cleric, Dr. Idris Abdulaziz Dusin Tenshi, as wanted on charges of contempt of court. Trust TV's Adamu Imam tells us more.
The announcement has sparked a wave of mixed reactions among residents, stirring a palpable sense of uncertainty and apprehension throughout the state. As details of the unfolding situation continue to emerge, the atmosphere remains charged with anticipation and unease. Prior to this development, unresolved issues between Imam Idris Abdulaziz and the state government had led to court charges and hearings. The situation took a new turn as the Nigerian police declared the renowned Islamic scholar wanted. In response, residents of the state expressed their concern over the matter.
Politics, religion, cultural problem, orientation, our values. These are some of the compounding issues that lead to all this that is happening presently in our society. And I said, Mali Idris issue with the police or with the governor of Bauchi State to be specific, it's just one out of 100. There are some shadow issues and there are physical issues that we can see them. We can feel them, we can hear them, we can even attest to them.
And for the police to have declared, yes, they had a problem, they went to court, but again, as I understand this very well, the police keeps substituting the charges. And I think the police should have carried out their investigation thoroughly before going to court.
Advising police to overlook the issue. We are not saying they should not do the right thing, but if you have generic issue and it's going to escalate, there is a much possibility of the problem to escalate. So I think we should look upon multiple problems and start solving ones that we can be able to solve.
Earlier in January, the Upper Sharia Court in Bauchi issued an arrest warrant after Imam Abdul Aziz failed to appear in person during subsequent court proceedings. Both the government prosecutor and the defendant counsel addressed the matter.
Based on the ruling of the court earlier, they have filed a motion that they have appeal before the court of appeals. They filed it, but they have not moved it. It's not for the court to move it for them, and it's not for the prosecuting counsel to move the motion for them. We have adjourned. We have sent someone for him. Publicly, he mentioned to the belief that he will not come.
The court revoked the bail of the defendant erroneously. It did it on error because the principle is after serving a summon on the defendant, if the defendant was not found, the court has to resume sitting. The court had to be informed that the defendant was not served, then a substitute service had to be applied for.
The defendant's lawyer revealed that the new charges mirrored those being tried at the Upper Sharia Court 1 Bauchi following his initial arraignment last April. Conversely, the State Council stated that the state was still prosecuting Imam Abdul Aziz due to his failure to move a motion regarding an alleged appeal filed before an appellate court in Jos. Adami Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Now back to economic matters. Managers of Nigeria's economy provided reassurances to the National Assembly concerning the country's inflation rate and foreign exchange volatility. Despite ongoing concerns among citizens and legislators, the federal government is actively addressing these issues, as highlighted during their appearances before the Nigerian Senate Committees on Finance, Appropriations, Banking, Insurance, and other financial institutions. From the National Assembly, Trust TV's Sagir Ibrahim reports.
Addressing the free fall of the naira against the dollar, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Olayemi Doso, outlined the comprehensive strategy deployed by the federal government through the Apex Bank to enhance liquidity in the foreign exchange market. While progress is evident, Cardoso emphasized that there is no instant solution to expedite its effect.
We believe that using the inflation targeting framework, which is being adopted by the central bank and going forward, obviously, by the MPC, we believe we will see inflation moderating to 21.4%. These measures have already started yielding early results, and this is early times, and I couldn't agree more with the Minister of Finance with respect to the issue of the timing of reforms. That frankly, there is no magic wand, unfortunately. I mean, these are issues we've had to grapple with. They're created over a period of time, a long period of time. And all we can do is try to use techniques, tools, which we believe are taking us in the direction and moderate the concerns that we've all heard today.
Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, emphasized the short-term measures aimed at alleviating citizen suffering while highlighting the medium and long-term reforms geared towards bolstering forex inflows and boosting economic production.
In the short term, the commitment is to face the pain of Nigerians and to do everything that can be done to ease those pains. And of course, on the foreign exchange side, to achieve stability. For the medium term, let us be assured that the monetary and the fiscal policies which are being implemented are going to lead to increase in production, increased funding for the government to play its own role. Difficult reforms take time for the benefits to come through. And our duty is to ensure that in the short term we minimize the pains to the poor and the most vulnerable.
Senator Abubakar Kyari, Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, addressed concerns regarding food security, acknowledging challenges such as prohibitive cost of fuel hindering plant support initiatives for the 2023 wet season cultivation.
An exiting government, I don't want to say this much, but an exiting government did not plan to do the cultivation, wet season cultivation for 2023. I don't think there was any impact or any direct intervention by government against the 2023 cultivation. And that also impacted on the quantum of harvest that we had in 2023. Second phase of rice that we're just about to roll out now is being challenged as well in terms of fuel, in terms of even inputs.
Governor Cardoso reiterated the importance of reducing dependence on the dollar and foreign goods to stem the free fall of the naira against the US dollar and other foreign currency. Nigeria's economic team remains steadfast in their commitment to navigating challenges and fostering sustainable economic growth. From the Senate, Sagir Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Abuja.
This is the News Hour on Trust TV. Still to come. Kano, Jigawa irrigation farmers optimistic of a bumper harvest. Details of this and many other stories coming up ahead after the break. Welcome back to the news. Thank you very much for staying with us. Let's take another look at the top stories. Katsina State Governor calls on residents to defend themselves amid rising insecurity. Osun youths take to the streets, demand an end to economic hardship and insecurity. Students of Plateau State University, Bokos, have taken to the streets in protest against the prolonged industrial action by members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, which has persisted for 3 months. The discontented students marched through the main thoroughfares of Jos, the state capital, culminating their protests at the government house in Little Rayfield. There, they were met and addressed by Samuel Jato, the state secretary to the government. Since November 2023, lecturers at the university have been on an indefinite strike, citing various grievances with the state government. Consequently, students have been deprived of lectures, hampering the academic progress of both new and graduating students. Frustrated by the prolonged disruption to their education, the students wielded placards adorned with various messages articulating their demands and concerns. In response, the secretary to the state government implored the aggrieved students to exercise patience, assuring them that the state government is actively engaging the union to address the lecturers' demands. Now, Nigeria has been dealing with a staggering increase in the number of out-of-school children across the country, which is signposting a huge gap within the education sector. The federal government, in an effort to mitigate this trend, has restated the urgent need for implementation of a robust strategy to address the out-of-school children phenomenon in the country. Habibat Ajayi has more on the story.
Speaking at the launch of the National Commission for Almajiri and Out-of-School Children Education in Abuja, the Minister of Education emphasized the importance of translating plans into action to tackle the alarming statistics of over 10 million Nigerian children deprived of educational opportunities, the highest rate globally.
The phase we have now entered is action and implementation. The talking time is over. The time for us to do the work has already started. And certainly it will be gladdening to those who want to be part of this activity, particularly our development partners, to know where this commission operates.
In response, stakeholders advocate for redirecting support, urging the federal government to leverage public-private partnerships to strengthen the education sector.
From this forum, I would like to plead the federal government
the state government and the development partners, please put in more money. Put in more money for the investment, because that's critical going forward for 10, 15, 20 years. The money is not enough, okay? That's number one. Number two, we plead with the states, please use that money efficiently, transparently, in an accountable manner.
The Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Almajiri and Out-of-Schools Children Education unveiled measures aimed at empowering and integrating Almajiri education, bridging the gap between education and untapped potentials.
We made all our deliverables and strategic plan, and from 2024 to 2027, at the Commission of National Commission for Almajiri Out-of-School Children, we intend to integrate 50,000 learner centers each year, with an average of 50 or 100 learners per center, both Almajiri and out-of-school children. Now, if you multiply 100 learners per center, it will give you 5 million, 50,000. Now, by 2025, we will be able to integrate 100,000 learning centers. 100,000 learning centers, it will give you 10 million. It's a very simple arithmetic. By 2027, we will be able to integrate 20 million out-of-school children in Nigeria, both Almajiri and out-of-school children.
The federal government pledges support to the Commission's effort in reducing the prevalence of Almajiri children across the country. With the support of stakeholders and government's backing, Nigeria is striving to pave a new path towards inclusive and accessible education for all children. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
To Borno State now, where Governor Babagana Zulum has reiterated his administration's unwavering commitment to bolstering food security initiatives within the state. This announcement coincided with a call from the National Agricultural Land Development Authority for stakeholders and state governments to replicate Governor Zulum's remarkable strides in the agriculture sector. During the commissioning ceremony of NALDA's housing scheme, farm training and empowerment projects in Borno State, Governor Zulum underscored the government's dedication to providing vital support to initiatives aimed at enhancing food security. Prince Ikonne, the Executive Secretary of NALDA, commended Governor Zulum's transformative approach to agriculture, urging other state governments and stakeholders to emulate his exemplary leadership.
So I call on other state governments to key into this spirit of developing agriculture, this spirit of empowerment, and this spirit of uplifting the less privileged. Your Excellency, we are here today for you to commission this project and begin the empowerment process, because it will not end today. Now that we'll keep on partnering with you as we keep on empowering people in the state in order for them to regain their status as farmers, legitimate farmers who can make ends meet through farming activities.
This project is very dear to us because, as you can see, the components of this project is not only the rural housing scheme. We have a poultry projects production unit. We have also drip irrigation sites you can see behind the housing scheme. And most importantly, we also have pasture development sites that will ensure ranching. And this is what we are looking for.
Still staying with developments in the agriculture sector, irrigation farmers across Kano and Jigawa State may smile to the bank this season as optimism of a bumper harvest rises. Trust TV's correspondent Idris Jibrin reports that despite growing challenges, farmers remain hopeful that this year may be different from last. His report.
Every year by this time, farmers across most northern states head to the farm again for dry season farming. Ishaq Al-Hassan and many other farmers have been looking forward to this moment. They say the harvest this year has been fruitful and express the hope that more good news await them.
Kalubalen da muke fuskanta a wannan wari
We have many challenges, but the most disturbing one is the high cost of fuel, and then the seed. We thank God this year the flour millers have given us a very good seed, but it's not as good as the one we had last year. So we are appealing to them that they should bring a better one for us, like the one we used last. We have been cultivating wheat year in, year out. But I must tell you that the one we did this year is completely different. The Wheat Flour Millers Association of Nigeria that came in here to give us seed, insecticide, and also fertilizer. In return, after the harvest, we will pay them back. Wheat is the common crop planted this year, and the harvest seems good in some areas of Ringim in Jigawa State and Kura in Kano State. However, disease outbreaks, lack of modern seeds, the cost of insecticide and other related costs of production may likely affect output this year. Over the years, Naima Al-Hassan has been among the few women engaged in irrigation farming. She says the failure of authorities to come to their aid has continued to threaten their productivity in wheat farming, especially during dry season farming. I've been farming and I thank God. And those close to me have also thanked God, because as a result of what I am doing, several other people are benefiting. Even though we have lots of challenges, the issue of seed, the issue of fuel, the issue of transportation. In less than 3 months, this green field will turn to brown for harvest. And with this year's improvement in irrigation farming, experts hope there will be a significant reduction in wheat and other food importation to Nigeria.
The commercial aspect of crop production will be obvious to the farmer that he is not just suffering, because he will repay whatever loans he has taken, at the same time make money on it. Rather than the previous situation when the farmers were on their own, they make 1 ton, 1.2 tons, or even 2 tons, and in the end, it's just not adding up at all.
Wheat production can be productive and also can bring commercial and economic benefit to farmers. The whole essence of our doing this is to increase the yield, possibility of wheat in Nigeria.
While farmers continue to nurture their harvest for this year's irrigation farming, the high cost of living occasioned by the increase in the price of food items has continued to make life difficult for many people across the country. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has officially signed the Electricity Act Amendment Bill 2024 into law, marking a significant step forward in addressing development and environmental concerns within host communities. The announcement was made by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajurin Gilali, in a statement released on Friday. The amended bill allocates 5% of the actual annual operating expenditures of power-generating companies from the preceding year for development of their respective host communities. Additionally, it mandates that these funds be managed and administered for infrastructure development in the host communities by a reputable trustee or manager jointly appointed by the respective GENCO and their host community. This action reflects the government's commitment to address critical issues surrounding electricity provision and community development, ushering a new era of progress and stability. Time to bring you up to speed now with the latest in business. Here is Yusuf Akogu.
Welcome to Business News. I am Yusuf Akogu. The Port Harcourt refinery is set to start operations following the supply of 475,000 barrels of crude oil by Shell Petroleum Development Company Limited. The crude oil supply is the first to be made in the past few years due to the poor state of the plant, which called for the recent rehabilitation and testing to ensure readiness for sustainable operations. Confirming the oil supply, Shell said this milestone was made possible through intensive preparation, collaboration, and the dedication of the Boni Oil and Gas Terminal and Port Harcourt Refinery Company Limited. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, say it has fulfilled its pledge of achieving the mechanical completion of rehabilitation work on Area 5 plant of the Port Harcourt Refinery. MultiChoice, an entertainment platform, say its subsidiaries have reached a settlement with the Federal Inland Revenue Service and agreed to pay a total tax amount of about $37.3 million. In a statement on Thursday, the group said the total tax amount of 35.4 billion naira to be paid by MultiChoice Nigeria and MultiChoice Africa Holding will be offset against the security deposit and good faith payment made to date. FIRS had frozen MultiChoice Nigeria's account in 2022 and served notices of assessment and demand notices on MultiChoice Group with $1.27 billion tax claim for its Nigeria operation and $342 million claim for value-added tax. MultiChoice went to court to challenge the penalty imposed by tax authority, which say the owner of the DSTV service skipped taxes and denied authority access to its servers. However, both parties settled for an amicable resolution of their issues and agree on an out-of-court settlement of the tax disputes. The federal government and stakeholders continue to blame acute rise in food prices to the substantial reduction in food production due to the rising insecurity in the country. Let's see how food commodities look like today. We begin from my 12 market in Lagos, where a bag of a tomato, that is talking about basket of tomato now, is now being sold for 49,000 naira. If you go to a Maruna market in Sokoto State, that's Atarodo, about 50 kg bag of it is going for 19,500 naira. Palm oil there at Ogbete market, talking about 25 liters in Enugu State, is going for 26,000 naira. There, I'm talking about groundnut oil as well. 25 liters at Otako market down here in Abuja is being sold for 43,500 naira. Of course, honey at Ogonogo market in Asaba in Delta State is going for 30,000 naira. Sugar there at Dankaba market is in Kano State is going for 60,000 naira. And of course, and it's expected that the price will even go up further. At the Yam market at Zakibia market in Benue State is being sold for 13,200 naira. Indeed, a lot of things are actually changing. Moving on, we'll see, look at onions at Bodija market in Oyo State. That is talking about 100 kg of onions there is going for 60,000 naira. Yam flour, big bag at Igbudu market in Delta State, 69,000 naira. Noodles, talking about, the more consumable that regularly consumed by children, really, is going for about 7,000 naira for 70 gram and 40 pieces, I beg your pardon. At my 12 market in Lagos, is going for 7,000 naira. Above powdered milk as well, carton of it at Agege market, semi-Lagos, is going for 23,500. Bonvita there at 900 gram. At Rimi market in Kano, 4,200. Of course, spaghetti carton, Central market in Kaduna, going to 14,200. And of course, Nescafe, talking about 3-in-1, 25 gram by 10, is being sold for 1,300 at Afo Ugbe market in Imo State. Now, from commodity market, now we go straight to the stock market, of course, which after 4 days of negative trading, NGX rebound on Friday as investors renewed interest in equities. We begin from with May and Baker, which recorded a 10% gain at the close of market on Friday. We look at Geregu power plant, very strongly there, coming up on the gainers table today, 9.92%, and of course, Mayer also gaining 9.86%, and this has moved the market to about 0.62% on the positive side. Indeed, a very good one, you say, for the market. Volume of trade, not so much, 321.887 million. The value at 7.354 billion in a deal of just above 8,000 deals there, nearly 9,000 there, you will say. Looking at the top trading equities, we have Transcorp. They've been there for a while, the 3.343 million shares, one of the high cap stock on the exchange. Universal Insurance, 21.247 million shares, and of course ETI, 18.775 million shares. It traded on the day. Of course, we have some losing equities. Entana Oil is on the losing side today, losing 9.80%. IMG down 9.38%, and of course Darcom 9.21%. It lost on the day. Indeed, not a very good day for some of these equities. These are the highlights of the stock trading. Finally, in business, oil prices closed positive on Friday, staying on track for weekly gains, with tension persisting in the Middle East after Israel rejected a ceasefire offer from Hamas. At the London market, Brent crude sells for $81 per barrel. For the OPEC basket, price moves up to $80 per barrel. And that's business. I am Yusuf Akogu.
Time now to take a look at developments on the international scene. Senegalese security forces resorted to using tear gas on Friday to disperse crowds attempting to gather in the capital Dakar following a call to mobilize against the last-minute postponement of the presidential elections in the country. Anti-riot police intervened to prevent groups from reaching the large place de la Nation in central Dakar, where a rally had been scheduled. Some protesters responded by hurling stones, leading to the closure of all access points to the square, as witnessed by AFP journalists. In a showdown between President Macky Sall and his opponents, citizens were urged to express their dissent on Friday against Sall's abrupt decision to postpone the February 25th election by 10 months. The move, backed by Parliament on Monday, had triggered strong opposition and raised international concern, challenging Senegal's reputation for democratic stability in a region plagued by military coups. Teachers, prompted by education unions within the civil society platforms, were called upon to stage a walkout. At Blaise Diagne High School in Dakar, hundreds of students left their classes mid-morning as teachers responded to the call. Time for some sports now. Let's join Emmanuel Fashemi for the latest.
As the Super Eagles prepare for Sunday's Africa Cup of Nations final against host Ivory Coast in Ebimpe, Senator John Eno, Minister of Sports Development, has urged Nigerians to support their team. In a signed press release, the minister emphasized the unifying force of sports and stated that individuals and the commercial sector should financially support the Super Eagles. He said that the Super Eagles embodied the robust and indomitable Nigerian character, which he said had united the country and inspired a sense of resilience unlike anything seen in its history. Eno emphasized the need for private citizens and corporate entities to stand up and provide vital support to the government, acknowledging the financial restrictions faced by the agency amid competing national priorities. The national team has received complete backing from the current administration of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which is unparalleled in our nation's modern sports administration history. It's now obvious and very clear that the government cannot finance sports growth in our nation on its own due to lack of funding and conflicting national goals. Understanding this fact is the foundation for my passionate plea to Nigerian businesses and private citizens to help our national team, the Super Eagles, win the Africa Cup of Nations trophy. In the event that the Super Eagles squad wins the championship game, I believe that financially supportive Nigerian corporations and public-spirited individuals should pledge to assist the team. The encounter is set for the 60,000 seating capacity at Sani Katara Stadium in Abidjan on Sunday, February 11th, 2024 by 9 p.m. Nigerian time. And that is sports. I am Emmanuel Fashimi.
Well, that's all the news at this hour. Thank you most kindly for joining us. We do appreciate your time and company. A quick reminder, you can follow us across our social media platforms to catch up with more content, and you can also visit our website trusttv.com for the latest. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. From myself and the rest of the team, thank you for your time and good night.